Awesome.
Mr. Chairman, the time is 6:30. We do have a quorum. We can go ahead and begin.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom, and welcome Parks and Rec board members and all of those of you at home, and as well young Mr. Tucker, who is in attendance today. First order of business be call roll, and we will say all here. Jamie?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
Esteban?
Here.
Joey?
Here.
Myself and Sean Michael absent today. Okay, next item is to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. The next item is to approve today's meeting agenda as it is in front of you and prepared by staff. There's no comments. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
Great. Motion
I'll
by
second.
Phil. Second.
I'm agree.
By Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next item is approval of the minutes from the August 19th regular meeting that is in front of all of us. If there are no comments on the agenda or on the minutes, then I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 19th, 2021.
By Jason. Do I have a second?
Agree.
A second by Esteban. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Next item is approval of the minutes from the special called meeting of September 28th.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion by Phil.
Second.
Second by Jamie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, so moved. Next item is public comment. Tom, any public comment today?
Chairman, we do not have any public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we will move into item 7, committee reports. Let's, Tommy, Esteban, you want to talk about where baseball is? What kind of
Hopefully,
updates there?
no, he's playing the full season. The full season. Nothing more to add. Everything is good.
Great. Come back to that. That's a question I have in a second. How about Eagle Sticks
No comment. Everything's going good.
and the quiet time? Huh? Same for you, Jason. Anything there?
No, seasons are going. Wrap up in a couple of weeks, so all good.
Great. Tom, you want to fill us in on anything NFL football related?
I have not, I really don't have much of an update at all on NFL. Thomas, do you have anything?
I haven't received the numbers yet as far as the fall season. I know they're going to begin the playoffs on November 6th, taking some time off from Bell Memorial Park on November 13th. And I believe they're playing their championship games all at North Park in Alpharetta.
Great.
The following weekend.
Okay. Outstanding. Halftime sports. Jason.
Everything's in full swing, getting ready for the winter. Registration's going, teams being formed, so no issues, but all going, getting ready for the busy time there.
Yeah. I have for the next two nothing to report for swim or tennis. It's probably the quiet time over there. And arts and adult programming. Phil, anything to share with us?
I do not, but I'll defer to Thomas.
Sure, I can catch us up a little bit with fine arts. Start with Rhythm and Shoes, our youth dance. They were represented at Crab Apple Fest by Parks and Recreation staff. Their fall season is still going. They were able to make 2 of 4 classes in that fall session 1 offering. winter registration is open. Nobody has registered yet, but that's typical with fall still going on. Still being hosted at Bethwell Community Center. We're excited to get them in the country club once we're up and running with that. Wellsong Tai Chi was also represented by Parks and Recreation staff at Crab Apple Fest. They just completed their second class and their subsequent series on Monday. That was Foundations 1 class. They had 7 of 10 participants signed up, so that was one of our stronger classes in late for them. Now I'm waiting on instruction for get that third one out there for them. So we're excited about that. Next up, we have our photography program, the Photo Creative. They did an amazing job serving at the welcome table. They were present at Crab Apple Fest, not only pushing their own program, but really represented and marketed for all the programs for Parks and Recreation. So we're very, very happy to see them there. Since earlier this month, they've had numerous offerings and have been able to have a handful of those classes had to do some moving around and some refunds here and there, but it's definitely not for a lack of trying on their part. So we're still pushing it very hard. Bach to Rock, no update for our music program. Looking forward to seeing what next year brings. Same goes with our STEAM Challenge Island. We also have our Goga, our goat yoga class, and our Mindful Seeds offered by Love Goga. They also attended Crabapple Fest, did another great job pushing everybody's programs at the welcome table. Mostly just bringing awareness to their brands. With it getting colder, we're not going to be able to do a lot outdoors and with animals. So, but we're looking forward to getting them up and running again. As it gets warmer. And then finally, since we all last met, we signed a new program on, which is called GG Leagues. It's competitive online gaming or esports for those of you that like to play games or have kids that, are playing on Xbox and PlayStation.
What was it? GG what?
GG Leagues. It's very popular, not only around Georgia and with different municipalities and Parks and Recreation departments, but it's a nationwide thing as well. So our kids get to sign up, adults too, for age appropriate, various leagues. Everything is monitored. It's very cool. All the information can be found online. I don't want to be quizzed on anything, but it's really cool. It's really cool stuff for different population that likes to either stay at home or practice and go home and play video games afterwards. So we're trying to get something out there for everybody. We did have a fall offering in GG Leagues. We only had 1 week to open it up, get registrations right before they closed it. It was just how the timing worked for the contract. But within that 1 week, we had 2 kids signed up. So I'm sure we all know how it goes sometimes with programs. It takes a little time. But we're looking forward to the winter season opening up for that Game Pass is what they called. It's opening, registration's opening on the 25th, and then gameplay actually starts in the new year. So,
Does it cost to register?
these last 2 classes are only $30, and you get pretty much everything they have to offer. You can sign up for multiple, as long as the times aren't overlapping. You can anything they have to offer comes with that $30 package.
Well, we do have a professional gamer in the audience, young man.
Definitely check it out.
I play baseball in
It's-
PlayStation too.
Yeah.
Call of Duty plays baseball.
It is a pretty unique opportunity because, like Thomas said, there was only a couple registrations, but GG Leagues as a whole, they could pull individuals from all over and make a league. So even though we only had a couple that register, I mean, think about if you had a couple register even for an individual sport like dance, it doesn't make sense to take a class with 2 kids.
Right.
But due to the fact that they just take R2 and pull them in with others, we can make it happen. So we can start with 2 and grow.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Can you sign up independently though? Like, could I just sign up for GG Leagues and as a competitive gamer?
Mhm.
Or no?
Yeah, you could register with one of their other offerings, I suppose you could, but you'd get a better rate here in Milton because there's no non-resident fees
Gotcha.
if you were to go with another municipality.
Would So I understand clearly the timing and new offering. I remember seeing it get published by the city. Are you guys promoting it in the school?
We're not in the schools as of right now. No. That's trying to get into the schools. It seems to be proven a little more difficult than to, you know,
What is that?
just as far as getting the word out. And I mean, we're all over Facebook, obviously, but
Yeah.
you know,
But I mean, isn't it, the school's got that peach jar?
Yeah.
Oh, you have that?
Mhm.
That's a paid for.
I have experience with peach jar.
Gotcha.
Uh,
So it's moved to paid. I didn't know it was always, because it
Yeah.
wasn't always paid. Got it. Fair enough. Anything else, Thomas?
that completes
Great.
our quote unquote arts programming.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, next item of business is unfinished, of which there is none. And we will move on to new business. First item under new business is the Cox Road Athletic Complex field layout, which we've got a map in front of, and Tom, you can introduce to us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This has been a long time coming, or it feels like it's been a long time coming for me here. On Monday evening, Tuesday morning, council approved the construction contract to construct the two fields at the Cox Road Athletic Facility. These concepts that you're looking at in front of you are just that. They're conceptual. They need to have a survey done before they can really see the actual square footage that they can get. I can only imagine what is in front of you is going to be very close to what they can do. But you know, we've got two fields, as you all know. The north field is proposed to be lacrosse and soccer. The lines on the north field, we did go with on this concept, and this is kind of what I want to discuss this evening, with unified lines. The distance on the field, I'm shooting for 110 to split the boy and girl distance. From what I understand, it's possible to do it a little smaller, but to accommodate the girls a little bit, I'd like the field to be kind of in the middle. We can't put a football field on that north field. It's too short. So it kind of gives us some separation on what sports can go where. Of course, football could still practice on that field. There just wouldn't be permanent lines that they could use, and vice versa. I mean, lacrosse, you know, could also practice on that south field. The south field will have football field on it, as you see. And I kind of altered the design that they had originally sent us and asked for them to put two baseball fields on that south field. The reason being, as we all know, in the spring last year, it was a little challenging with the one baseball field on Field 7 at Bell Park and what to do with the other half of the field. And as I was looking through it, I thought, well, spring's that heavy season for baseball, and there is no football in the spring. So it could be a dedicated baseball field, essentially, if we needed it to be, if baseball needed more field space, without having shared space between two sports. And that opens up the ability for lacrosse to stay on that north field or field 2. That south field will also have dugouts for the baseball fields. And all the fields will have 6-foot chain link fence and netting where appropriate on the end zones, 20 feet to protect the cars of the parking lot from lacrosse balls, and then 10 feet on all the other sides. Part of the reason that the survey needs to be done is not just for size, but also to find out where all this stormwater will be going. There is a little retention pond over in the southwest corner. We had it cleared out last week so that when they do the survey, they can see how much water it can accommodate. And, once it releases from that retention pond, it will also kind of release south. So now that it's all cleared out, the surveyor should be able to calculate how much water flow is going to enter that. And we are hoping and confident that it should be able to handle it. And they also need that to also know where the where the water from turf field 1 that's just off your screen goes. And I'm relatively confident I have found the pipe that it comes from, and it does flow in there. So that's it in a nutshell. Both fields do have soccer fields lined on them for the adult soccer program. My main concern with the lacrosse field on field 2 on the north field is to be able to accommodate what we do at Bell Park on the youth lacrosse side, or the younger lacrosse side, being able to get 3 fields next to each other to get the most game space we can Saturdays. The field is shorter, as we all know. I calculated, me and Tim Godby were calculating, we need about 120 yards of field space to be able to put 3 next to each other. And as this particular concept lays out, it's going to be tight. But that's what we're shooting for. And that, I believe, concludes everything I've got on my mind.
Oh,
And
what
I
about,
guess what I'm looking for here is, have we missed something in the design? And because at this point we can change things. They basically just took an overlay of the field and slapped some lines on it that are probably relatively accurate in distance. But I was trying to accommodate all of our sports, give all of our sports some increased field space. And the way that I'm looking at it now, in each sports peak season or heavy registration season, they're all going to get access to one more turf field, one more full turf field at least. There are scenarios, and this all depends on registration that comes in the spring. If baseball is down and lacrosse is up, it will probably shift the way we put teams out on the different fields. The wild card, I think, is actually not going to be Cox. I think it's actually going to turn into Bell Park as the wild card in field 1 and 7. But yeah, I'm open to any
so,
comments, questions,
Tom, what
concerns.
about the lines for girls lacrosse, for example, and girls softball? Do we have that indicated?
Yes, we do have the girls lacrosse lines. The unified lines will accommodate girls and boys.
Okay.
And those fields on the south side, it's essentially just a space you could do softball on those fields as well.
Good. Okay. And other sports? I know we always talk about the same sports, but like rugby, I don't know, anything else?
I don't have any dedicated lines for rugby. Now, these are large rectangles and they can be painted. So if we have a rugby tournament that wants to come in here, which is very possible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have rugby dimensions. I don't know how long a rugby field is, but if it's big enough, we could paint them. Just like we'll end up probably painting the younger lacrosse lines like we do at Bell Park.
Right.
Anything can be painted on there.
Tom, what does the timing look like?
The construction, once they get the survey done, we need survey design. Then community development needs to get them their permits. We're hoping, we're hoping to have construction starting end of November, early December, and completion by March 1st.
This coming March?
Yes.
Okay.
So we will have a couple weeks of
Not quite ready for prime time.
not quite ready.
Right.
Yeah, and there's going to be some weeks of practice that are going to be real tight.
Yep.
But we got to look at the light at the end of the tunnel here.
Tom, I haven't been on this property for any length of time or in any recent period. So the picture on the left, I guess is boundary and setback. When you do the survey, is there any extra 5-10 yards that might be uncovered that isn't in the current configuration that
Yes.
would help?
Yes. And I've already had conversations with them that this north field, I would like it as long as we can get it reasonably.
Yeah.
Of course, they've already provided us with cost estimates. So they probably had some tree removal, but I don't know how much.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those, anything can be done at a price, you know.
Sure.
But yes, those are boundary lines.
Yeah, I didn't watch your whole meeting at that hour to get it approved, but
How dare you, sir?
yeah, but I suspect now, should we find that there is a plus plan, if you will, for additional renovation, then we could easily go to the council and say, let's do it right up front once and be done and get all the field space we can possibly
Yes, Mr.
consume
Chairman.
with this empty lot.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I did build in some a construction allowance into the contract
Yep.
that we could,
Yeah.
if that is,
Yep.
if it fits.
Esteban hasn't asked it yet, so I will. What's the dimension of the baseball field? What's the
How many feet? I mean,
185 to 200.
for both.
Yes. Well, concurrently, no. So I think the idea is the way you can actually see on the. Can you throw
yeah?
the-
I see like two
the mouse?
overlapping, like a
Yes.
Venn diagram.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the idea here was, and of course the mouse isn't. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Oh, I hit a button. The idea is one of these fields would probably have a fence that would be full length, and then the other, because we can go as far out, if we're talking about this southwest field, we can go out as far as we want.
Yep.
And then it curls in, and that would impact this field, of course.
Sure.
So the idea, I think, would be at this point, we'd have either mini hitters on one field on a Saturday and, 8U, something like that on this field.
Busy age groups.
Right. The busy age. Yeah. And then you got mini hitters out here that really don't need much of a fence. They're not going to hit it out real far. And then this field, but you could also utilize it for practices
Yes.
for, 10U at the same time, I would think.
Sure. Sure. Good.
But yes, great question.
Other questions, comments? From the board? Joey, Jason?
Sorry, I'm getting calls. You've already talked to baseball, football, and lacrosse.
Yes.
Okay.
Baseball, very loosely, but lacrosse has been.
Yeah, I think I knew you talked to Tim. I didn't know if you had talked to baseball, and I know you were saying possibly having football out there for what?
In the fall.
In the fall, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as they're, they know their sports, so whatever they're talking to you about, I'm sure is. And I can't think of anything else as far as softball goes. That's a good question.
It was a great question.
Yeah.
Do we have like a sports alliance or a group of sports, different sports that comes together and tries to figure out what works, what doesn't work,
I call that the Parks and Rec Advisory Board.
besides us?
No, we don't have one.
Tim, I know we talked about a little bit, the ability to put lacrosse lines on that second field, just to give
Yes.
it for,
Yes, we'll have lacrosse lines down there.
just so that it's.
That's going to be a busy field.
Yeah, just,
But it's
as I
okay.
talked about, it gives you an option for tournaments within the city,
Sure.
because you have two sets of two fields.
Mhm.
Yeah. Make that tournament even bigger.
So if you have lacrosse lines on the lower field.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any other comments?
Is there any way to do it before March 1st?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I've gotten a project timeline that has them finishing right at the end, the last
Pray
day of
for a dry
February.
spring.
But it's all contingent on just like any other construction materials. Some things are hard to get.
Mhm.
So they're going to start ordering things, and they have a good idea of what the timing is on a lot of product, but things could change tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just,
That's going to be our biggest.
that's going to be the challenge, because you're essentially down two fields in that first 5 weeks of the season when
Of the
everybody's
season.
when everybody's practicing.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you might miss the perfect window.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Listen, I'm glad that it got this far. It's taken a long time. I'm very happy that you stayed up to present to council. So thank you for that on our behalf.
Well,
Yes.
I wasn't going to let that one.
No,
Go to another
I was here in spirit. If there's no other comments, I guess I'd entertain a motion to have Tom and staff continue down the field layout process with their construction plan.
As proposed tonight.
As proposed tonight with
Okay.
the drawings that we're looking at with the unified lines and the,
I will
So-
make a
so
motion.
make a motion, if you're going to make the motion, include your lacrosse lines on the south field, because in this drawing, they just happen to not be there.
So I will make a motion to, for staff to continue down with the proposed outline of the fields at Cox Road with the addition of the unified lacrosse lines on the south field.
Second.
and a motion by Jason, a second by Jamie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thanks, Tom. And Emily and Thomas, great work on that.
Yes.
Next item of new business is Springfield allocation discussion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we may be a little early, but probably I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea. Board member Costanzo had said, "Hey, well, let's not forget about how we're going to juggle the programming in the spring." So I put it on the agenda tonight. Probably, well, I won't suggest that, but we got to keep it in the back of our minds. We don't have registration numbers yet, so we can't really allocate who's going to be where until we have those numbers. But it's something that we'll definitely be keeping an eye on. And as the months go by, probably, I would think by the December meeting, we would realistically be able to have all the registration numbers in. If we can do it in November, that's great. If we can at least get preliminary numbers from the sports where they're looking, and we can talk about it next month, that'd be excellent. But I really want to have a smooth spring season once Cox is opened up. I really want to have a nice smooth spring, and accommodate all of our sports equally.
So one thing I think that we could get ahead of at this point, I know was an issue last year, was if there's the ability to get the registration timing, right? So I know that with lacrosse, we started 2 or 3 weeks before baseball. And then there was this kind of change that things happened just to see if there's going to be some uniformity to registration, right? I know that was a challenge last year, and that now we're changing things because we don't know the numbers as they come in, because everybody registers the last week.
So I'm going to step out
that's-
for a second. Can I just ask, because I'm not in the loop with children that probably participate in some of the sports in question, why did it not go smooth? I'm going to make the assumption, why did it not go smooth last spring? And what was at the heart of it? Let's just be candid. Shall we?
I think there's probably lots of lots of allocation, lots of issues. So there was certainly, from the community's perspective, I will tell you that optically, it is not a good look when I walk by 4 baseball fields. Some nights there was nobody on them. Some nights there's 7 or 10 kids on it. And I get my son or daughter to a lacrosse field, and there's 35 or 40 kids on a half of a field. And now I'm like, well, that baseball field's half empty, or there's 7 kids on it or 10 kids on it. And then there's 10 kids on the other half of the lacrosse field, and I have 45 kids on a half of football, or the other half of that field one, right? So if I'm a parent and I walk in, I'm like, doesn't seem like very good at utilization of our field space. And I will tell you from our coaches, and this was rectified with, Tom, like, hey, they're on the turf field, but there's 2 open baseball fields. And yet I'm still on a half of a football, half, because they prefer to be on the turf. And Tom, said, hey, if the open baseball fields, you can take the lacrosse program over there to use those fields because that's what they choose, right? So I think that was a lot of the crux of the issue, and the community complaints came from that.
But that was
Right.
an on-the-fly decision when that was made, things like that, like you had to be there.
No, we had talked about it. He made that decision, and it was like, hey, I think it only happened once or twice that our team went over there. But, the baseball team chose to be on the turf, and that's what they had reserved. But there were 2 other open baseball fields, and we're like, well, we're going to go use that outfield space and put some kids over there and utilize it.
Yep.
Well, in this discussion to what you just brought up with new business A, it almost demands, if we're not going to be ready for spring right away, close to that March date, you almost have to tighten this thing up. So it's almost like this conversation really works together, because we're going to have to figure out how to manage more kids in smaller spaces. And to what Jason was saying, I don't agree with the way things came about last year with some of the public complaints, but there was some bit of, stuff in there that, yes. So when you come to a field and field whatever is 80 to 120 kids, and then you look over and you see, and it just so happens that there's only 9 4-year-olds in this one little section, it looks really, really bad. And so, could there be a way to put all the 4, 5, and 6-year-old teams on that entire field instead of splitting it one day and then having the Thursday be open? This is not real. This is just saying, well, is there a better way to optimize the field space? I think there is, but I don't think we knew that was going to happen before it happened. So
I think, to your point, Phil, I think there's a discussion of field allocation that Tom has with the providers that kind of says, here's the big picture. This is the pieces as we see it. And then as you get into it and you start slicing and dicing the pieces, then you get into this day, this week versus next week, same day. And that requires a little bit more management by staff and probably a little bit more cooperation by partners.
Yes.
Providers.
To
be playing nice. So that parents don't, because what ended up happening was parents complained, to your point, because it didn't look right. And it wasn't right on some days and it was fine on others. And so some people didn't know, how best to use their space, and other people wanted to use more than perhaps they should have. So it is a allocation made early before registration is finalized, just based on some trending. And then it's got to have a little refinement process.
So then that goes back to what you said, Jason. Can we standardize the registration timing so we're making
So that
allocation decisions
That's
with
an
all the
interesting
data?
idea.
Yeah, because I know, again, on the lacrosse side, the first 3 weeks, it was pretty solid, but we can't also tell our parents, because we're like, yeah, this is when we're going now, but we're still waiting on what the baseball figures out. And then when they come, things have to change because they're getting access to other fields. And so I think there was a frustration probably on our parents there, just like, hey, for the first 3 weeks we're here, but we don't, and at that point we didn't know, right? It was like, well, as soon as we know when it'll be confirmed, we'll give you a finalized date. As soon as we'll give you a finalized date. And then eventually, when their numbers came through, everything, now these are the days, and then.
And that might be something if we look into a sports alliance, which would be citizens who represent the variety of sports, they could help us figure that out.
So I just want to add to that real quick, and this is sort of this, but it was an outcome of this. And I think that this is a discussion that you can have with the providers, which is, and I hate that this happened, but Tom had to come out one day when there was a scheduling conflict, but not by the city. And the coach would not leave the field and didn't care what the city schedule was. And even Tom standing there, and I think there needs to be an understanding from the providers to talk to their coaches and understand it's on this. There's a schedule on the website. You can easily see it. Yep. You don't say, because anybody could go out there and say, well, we have it scheduled, and have nothing. And that was awful.
And to that, that
Can't fix road coaches.
Yeah, to that. There's that all the time, right? There was, with that baseball field, on some nights we would, they were done at 8:30. So we would use the rest of it because we finished at 9.
Yep.
And on one evening, one of the coaches insisted on having his team meeting at 8:30 in the middle of the field every time until 8:45, which, and you talk to the other one, and at 8:30 he moved off, had his team meeting. by the side and we could get right in.
Right.
But to your point,
Can't
you
fix
can't
it.
fix the road coaches.
There's a lot of coaches.
and you're
I
like-
wish they'd all line up and march in
Yeah,
the same
you know.
direction, but as a former leader,
Exactly. You're
it's
like,
impossible.
you just can't help us out and do it in the dugout so we can use the field.
But that's good feedback because
Yeah.
that Tom can and staff can take that back to providers
Yeah.
to circle them in on that, and a little course correction can be attempted.
Yeah,
And the other coach was 100% great. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
as soon as he was done with what he had,
Yep.
he gave us a wave, and it might
Yeah.
have been at 25. Hey, I'm done.
I'm coming.
Got his kids off to the side, and he did his talk. And, we could move in and use the extra space.
Yes, every program
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
something.
Everybody has
Yeah.
let's have the conference right in the middle of the field.
And that issue was resolved that night. I did talk to baseball after I left the
Yeah.
park.
Yeah.
And it was acknowledged that team wasn't supposed to be there.
Mhm.
It was just a miscommunication.
Yep.
And whether the coach met, I'm sure it was.
We hope.
I don't think he was trying to just commandeer a field that he knew he didn't have. I think,
Yeah.
Right.
I think he just misread what the schedule was going to be.
Yeah.
But to go to the point of the registration timing,
Yeah. Talk about that.
that's not just an idea. We are currently working on that. To have a entire calendar year open and close registration period. Now, if some program wants to stay open a little longer, that's fine, but we'll have a close date. You can submit your registration as it is then. And if you project a list, we're going to have 20 more because we've got 20 spots on these teams that are going to open or
Well, and that's
whatnot.
the thing is that we, to your point, we know, I can tell you right now, when we close it in December, end of December, I can tell you, we'll get 10 more kids.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Sure.
Just,
Neighbor that
yeah.
drives by, "Did I miss
Yeah.
registration?"
Yeah. I mean, there'll be 10 or 12 kids and it all depends on where our teams stack out,
Yep.
right? We may only be able to take a kid on a U9 or wherever they are.
Yep.
But that was,
Yeah.
again, that was when we were closed, it was like, well, we still have 3 more weeks of registration. Like, well,
No,
okay.
I get it.
At 3 weeks, again, most people don't have a good idea where they're going to end up because everybody registers the last week.
Yep.
Yeah. So
We're a whole society of late registrants.
Correct.
It's not just sport related.
Yes, day one and the last day, everybody registers.
I don't want to go too far off of
But that's
our,
fair.
our agenda item here, but
Yeah.
we are looking at doing that for every season all year round. And it goes beyond just this issue here. I mean, we could promote and have actual dates and we can start
In
putting
advance.
we've never had a recreation leisure guide or
Catalog.
catalog. I mean, we have a catalog, but it's I'm not going to say wild, wild west, but it's everyone has their own registration times and registration
Right.
periods. And,
It would make
that
sense.
works for them. But for Johnny Citizen who just moves here,
Yeah.
it could look a little clustered.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so if we had on July 15th,
Calendar, yeah.
fall registration opens
Yep.
and it closes on August 1st. And
No, it makes great sense.
it'll give us the opportunity to plan forward
Correct.
with a little more concrete dates.
Yep.
And give the appearance of a
Well-run.
well-organized
Parks and
Parks and Rec department. Yeah.
Just the
It won't be
appearance.
just the appearance.
Just the appearance is
Just
all
the
we're
appearance.
looking for.
You got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Do you need anything from us, Tom, on this item, new business about allocation? Other than just you're going to talk to providers
I guess we'll just table it.
about your registration. We can revisit it in November with a status update where we're at then and make plans for a provider meeting in
If-
December around.
My plan, as it is today, and that can always change, is to probably invite our program providers that are affected to the next meeting. And they can provide updates on where they're at, and we can have that discussion. Maybe we do one of those more roundtable
Mhm.
type meetings. And if it ends up being premature, which it may be, we push it to December. But staff's going to have a meeting here,
A formal meeting.
a
with the
formal
provider.
meeting with our program providers, with the nuts and bolts and the registration numbers. And this is how many fields I'm going to need. This is how many fields I'm going to need.
Yeah. As we've
And we
done
need,
every year.
and yes.
Are we running
yes,
out of
yes.
time when we provide it to Brandon over at Newtown with the scheduling?
I I don't understand your question.
Doesn't he handle the scheduling?
Yes.
Yeah, are we giving it to him in time?
You know, he reached
Yeah,
out today asking about needs.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Just want to make sure that when we have those meetings and we're ready to go, that we're actually giving him enough time to actually settle that, because it seemed like even after our meeting last year, we were still going, well, this space was sort of given, but it didn't really need to be that kind of thing.
That was a big part of our issues last spring, was the fact that everybody wasn't ready at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
And we kind of held a field hostage for a while.
Sure.
And that's something that we're looking to alleviate this spring.
Good.
Good.
Okay. So do we need to make official motion at the table for next
But,
month?
yeah, we can do that.
Somebody want to entertain a motion to continue the Springfield allocation discussion at our next monthly meeting in November?
I'll make a motion to revisit the Springfield allocation discussion next
Motion.
month.
Motion to table by Phil,
I'll second.
a second by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay. Next item 10, city staff reports and communications.
Mr. Chairman, first up is Providence Park. It's coming along real nice. It is going to be one heck of a park. The ADA asphalt trail is, I was out there yesterday. I think I was out there yesterday, and they are probably 75% done with the asphalt, going down to the boardwalk. And then once and that's just the first layer. Then they come through with a top coat once all the work's done. So they're probably 75% with that first layer. The pier is 95% done. It is outrageous. I don't know of another Parks and Rec department that has a pier like this. It is really nice, and I'm going to want to go there with my kids. It's one of those kind of parks. It's still going to have that Providence Park feel, but it'll be just more inviting for those, the families with the kid in the stroller. You're going to be able to bring them now. And, it was not, unless you threw them in one of those
Baby Bjorn.
baby Bjorns. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go back in the time machine there. Unless you throw it in, throw your kid in a baby Bjorn. It wasn't a park for you to bring the family anyway. So now it's now it's ADA accessible too. So real excited about that. Big thanks to Public Works and ComDev. They've really been very supportive. In fact, I feel like I've been supporting them through this whole project. So that's about all I've got on Providence at this point. It's going to be ready to open in the next, I would say, 6 weeks on those projects. Yeah, December 1st. I've got to have the trail done, and both of those projects have to be done for the grant that we received. So
Tom,
we're real close. Now that we haven't had as much rain, except for today, the paving was actually getting done really quickly.
what's the status on the restrooms?
Working on it. The last round of bids.
Expensive.
The last round of bids came in at $546,000 for a, I guess we could call it a 4-stall setup, a men's and a women's with 2 and 2, and then $385,000 for a 1 and 1.
Have we looked at like government supplier programs?
We are looking into alternative options right
Yeah, because
right now.
that's not
Porta John.
feasible. No, we talked about that.
What's that?
Porta John. Because the grant,
If we open it up, we will have porta johns out there in the meantime.
and the grant expires when?
End of the year.
This year?
The restroom grant ends March 31st. Is that what you're referring
That's
to?
what I was referring to.
Yes, I got an
March.
extension to March 31st.
Good job.
That's still creeping up.
Tom, did we ever reroute the water out of the quarry? Or is it still dumping into it?
It's still going in there.
And is it going to stay that way for the foreseeable future?
I have no plan of right now of
Okay.
diverting the water back
Draining the
down to the
swamp.
stream. Yeah.
I know we talked about it at some point.
There,
A while back?
It's in the it's in the master plan for the park to drain it out and
It is,
have like a
okay.
little event lawn down there, and
Yeah,
that's
Yep.
it's a future phase.
not in our lifetime.
Not
Well,
your
I don't know
kids'.
about that, but
Yeah. Might be in your kid's lifetime. I have a comment, but I'll hold it off to you. Tell me about the former Milton Country Club update.
okay. Anything on the Providence Park before I move on?
No, that's
Okay.
great.
At FMCC, the trail is also coming along quite well. I would probably need Public Works to answer this, to know the percentage of completion, but it's coming along real nice. I took a tour of it last Friday, and you can get. I would say we have trail material down in 75%. It's not the finished product, but it's all graded. I'd say 75 to 80% of it is graded and trailed. And it's also real nice. That is going to be a huge attraction from outside of Milton, I would say. It flows nicely away from the homes, so we're not right in anyone's backyard, and it's going to be that decomposed crushed granite material, not anything paved. So it'll have that natural outside feel. As far as the country club building goes, let's see, the painting, the priming is done. So all the walls are done, the priming's done. And the next move is going to be the bathrooms. We're putting we're pushing hard on the bathrooms to get done so that we can get the portable units out of there. And kind of lock up the other side of the building.
Is that another
for the time being.
500,000?
No, the plumbing's already there.
Yeah. But it's coming along fantastically. I've been told that middle of November they'll have the bathrooms done. And their big issue, just like everyone else, is getting windows, doors. All the materials are kind of holding them up at this point. But
I apologize
real
if I've
excited
missed a meeting or did they ever decide on that playground? The one that was going to be donated, or?
No.
No? Okay.
No, it's not included.
At this point, I have no update.
Yeah,
No.
not included in the current plan for the
Huh.
country club.
Okay.
I know I saw the nice thing the city did. I'm sure that was ComDev around the video.
Oh,
of
on the
park.
website. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
That was great.
You guys see that?
There's
See
a-
which
It's on the
one?
City
There's
of
a
Milton
really nice
website.
Facebook video about.
I saw one when Tom was talking. Where was
That
that?
video?
Yeah.
Was that MCC?
Nice.
That's MCC.
So my
Yeah.
other thing is, why wouldn't we do one for Providence Park, particularly as we're getting close to
Yeah, we should.
make you a star, put you out there.
You've done a good job.
You like the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom.
Isn't it relatively clear that I don't? I was like, so communications department did that video, and I was like, please,
Yeah.
Jen, make me look good.
But maybe if we're getting this, as we are
Great
this
idea.
close on Providence Park, perhaps we should, start painting a picture of what that pier looks like. Might really get people excited.
Well, Emily
'cause
could do that with the Junior Ranger program.
Oh,
Talk about all that.
could tease that in there. Yeah. Because the other thing I was just thinking about out loud, I know it's fall's coming, it's a pretty time of year, and I know we did this in prior years on land that we had controlling interests, that maybe we'd have a informal Parks Board meeting, go out and tour property one day. We did that on that school property
Yeah.
once, went out and walked.
Mhm.
Some of you were around for that.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. You saved us.
And
I remember that.
Maybe we think of doing that for these two properties as an afternoon or early evening event, and have a
Happy to do that.
non-business parks meeting to go out and just tour. And
Happy to do that, Mr. Chairman.
We're still limited on how many, right?
no, you can
As
declare
long,
a
as long
formal
as we
meeting.
posted a non-business meeting.
Got to post it that it's a
Oh, okay.
no business meeting, so you can all go.
I love that.
Yeah, so it'd be really nice to see.
We'll get it on the calendar.
Okay, next item, Wall of Fame update.
I'm going to defer to
Yeah.
Ms. Groth on the Wall of Fame
Play
update.
the Wall of Fame expert.
Yeah, we've got it coming close here. We've got 5 inductees.
Hmm.
Gotten all their pictures. I'm black for their name. The Saturday, November 13th.
You'll get an email tomorrow on that.
I think we saw it.
Already
Got
got
one.
We got
Yeah,
one.
you did.
It's already
We
on
got
our
one.
calendar.
That's right.
You can send a calendar invite, but we already got that.
There's another email going out tomorrow.
Okay.
Correction, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, and I can announce the winner. Yeah, there's 5 gentlemen that are going to be making Hall of Fame. They are Chase Coleman, Jim Craig, Jeff Fester, Kyle Sloter.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a great class.
For
Awesome.
those that are with us, are they made aware?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
They've all been invited.
Yeah.
Some are
You were
coming
there
back.
last year.
Yeah.
Jim's coming back.
That was going to be my
I-
next
I
question. Is
talked
he
to
going to
him.
come up?
Yeah, I already talked to him.
Good.
Yeah, so he wouldn't miss it for the
Good.
world.
No.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Good.
Other comments, Wall of Fame? Thanks, Emily. Nope. Great job. Lackey Road Green Space.
I'm going to defer to Ms. Groth once again. She has. I want to preface with this. This was one of those projects that I kind of laid in her lap, and she ran with it. Has done a tremendous job in getting this property ready to open to the public, and we're very close. And I'll let Emily go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about the property and what's
That's part of the
what's
big-
going to be happening out there.
yeah, we've been working. Installed, and got trail mileage. The whole thing is a 1.5 mile loop. Got with our graphic designer to create this. So each circle is also where one of those blazes are. So like 0.4 mile is going to have a blue diamond, where it's just going to be beneficial for both hikers and along with the mileage every 1/10 of a mile, we've included trail posts, that also kind of universal brown dotted posts that directional arrows, and also want to incorporate QR codes. Got it in the middle of the trail. I've got it at some big intersections. Be able to learn more about the green space property as well. Parking lot is complete. It'll hold about 15 to 20 cars. That 1.5 mile trail. Yeah, and throughout the trail and get the lens widened where it needs to be. I would say it's like a moderate trail with some good elevation crossings.
Mm-hmm. And you said coming soon, so I got to ask,
When?
how soon?
Real soon.
I'm getting a sense.
Wait,
that
I need to
there's a
wait,
whole-
wait, I'm writing that down.
Getting a sense.
Like
that
this
there's a whole-
weekend?
I mean, you could roll it in when, here's things that are moving in the city and in parks. It's a nice little promotion.
Yeah.
How did your graphic designer know where the cows were going to be?
Aerial photos.
Oh, okay.
Where is this exactly?
Lackey Road is off of Arnold Mill. So if you're driving down Arnold Mill from, say, where the Kroger and McDonald's,
Near Cox.
yep, and then you pass Cox Road on your left,
Yeah.
and you keep going north, it's maybe a mile on your left is Lackey Road.
Mhm.
It's, it's a
Okay.
gravel road. And it's down Lackey Road there.
Got it.
It's not far from Roswell.
Is the parking lot going to be lined or is it just gravel?
No, it's
Okay.
a
That's where you say
it's like a
15 to
GAB.
20.
It's like a it's like a GAB material and just
Yeah.
like a
So however many you can pack
Standard
in.
trailhead.
Yeah.
yeah. Actually it's a pretty nice little parking lot. It was a little more grand than I was expecting when they finished it up.
And is there a bathroom?
No.
Kidding. Totally kidding.
But for 500,000, we can get.
In the
we can
video,
get-
you should tell people,
546.
advance at your own risk.
Yeah.
Hey, what was that road that Jim used to say you don't want to go down, that some people shoot out the stop signs?
Oh, that was up off, that's up off Hopewell.
It's off Hopewell?
That's on the north side of the manor.
Okay, I was always,
Yeah, not this one.
okay.
Great. I mean, that's exciting to see park space come online. I'm sure citizens in this property, this will be a bonus because although it was approved in the green space bond, they probably are just not even aware of all the things that's been going on here at the city.
Yeah.
Get it up and running.
This-
Certainly Providence was up and running and the country club's been set under wraps and coming out of wraps. So this is a total bonus to the residents of the city. So that's really nice work.
This is the first green space that's going to be open to the public.
Yeah.
While we were working on the country club prior, this property needed a little bit less.
Yeah.
Just to get it
Not
up and going.
intensive.
The trails, generally speaking, were already there. The family that lived on the property prior had extensive love for nature and they worked with, I believe it was the Park Service, to actually design some of these trails. It's, Emily says moderate. I mean, easy, moderate, hard. It's
All
in
that.
the middle. It's not an easy walk. It's not a long walk, but you have stream crossings that you're stepping on rocks through a stream.
Oh, nice.
You slip, you're in the water. It's not a, we haven't put bridges up or anything.
Right.
It's a nature walk.
Yeah.
But that being said, I have walked the trail in these shoes.
Yeah.
It can be done,
Right.
but it's not an easy one. It's when you say moderate, you think middle of the road, really.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Mhm.
Outstanding. Those are all great reports. I appreciate all that, Tom. Any other business for the Parks and Rec Board? Anybody else? Comments? Critiques?
Oh, I have, do we want to talk about changing meeting times at some time in the future?
if that is the desire of the board, we can entertain that in the next couple months, probably.
Yeah, just something I'm
We've
sure we're
already
going to
set the
all want
meetings-
to.
We've already set the meetings for this year, so.
Right.
When we do the meeting schedule for next year, maybe next month, we talk about the idea of moving them, and then in December, we approve the meeting calendar for
Mm-hmm.
2022.
Do that.
Be a different day, time.
I mean, just whatever works best for our group, that, because even, we
Probably-
were just talking how I thought it was 6 o'clock, and we could have even done this
Sent that
30
text
minutes
too.
earlier, whatever works best for everyone, for sure. I mean, it doesn't have to be so drastic as it was before, but anyway.
I'm more than happy to
We'll put
listen
it
to
up.
the discussion and
This Friday.
see how it meets. We have done.
No Fridays.
we
No
have done 12
Fridays.
No
noons.
Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely no Fridays.
Sometimes convenient for us, not
Six
convenient for
Fridays.
citizens. So we did
Like in a bar.
rotating for a
Yeah.
while. I
In a
think
bar.
we did noon.
That works.
We did do that one.
Alternating noon and night. We've done that. So if we need to talk about it, let's put it on the agenda for November and talk some more about it. Thanks, Joey. That'd be a great idea.
Thanks, Joey.
If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Jason,
Second.
second by Jamie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thanks, everyone.